Back again, this time for Game Week 16 team selection. But first, as always, let's quickly review the Game Week 15 points. And yeah, it was another solid week, 64 points all out. Heading into Monday Night Football, Wolves versus United, I was actually just hovering above the safety score, so I was on a small, tiny green arrow. Funnily enough, this time last week, it actually felt almost identical. Going into the final game with Bruno still to play at home to West Ham, I felt confident about a possible big rank jump into the top 20k. Bruno could potentially get an attacking return against the West Ham side, who are poor defensively, and then United have a stinker and draw 1-1. So heading into the very next week with United again as the final team to play, this time I wasn't feeling so confident, and then Bruno puts on a masterclass, coming away with an 18-point haul, and honestly that really capped off what was a very decent week overall. So yeah, let's see how the others fared. Richards picked up 4 points, no clean sheet this week. He did get DEFCON though, and even managed to beat Munoz, who of course wasn't in the squad. Richards actually tends to be overshadowed by Munoz, Lacroix and Gahey. But honestly, if Richards was playing for Fulham or Bournemouth and getting these points, everyone would love him. They'd all have him in his team, and he'd be higher owned because he's one of the better defenders for FPL points. Now, of course, Crystal Palace are the team getting the clean sheets, but if you translate that into another team, he'd be great. He's just 4.6 million and ranked 10th among defenders for points. So yeah, he's a real gem. It's just that Gahey, Lacroix and Munoz are all performing so well. They're getting attacking returns as well. And Richards actually just picks up clean sheets, DEFCON points. He's just consistent. So yeah, he's a great pick. Obviously, he's just being overshadowed by the other 3 defenders at Palace. Tarkowski did it again. Another 9 points, adding to his double-digit haul last week. He should have had 10 points, but he was booked, and he then lost out on all 3 bonus points later on. I think he was on 3 before he was then dropped down to 2. So it should have been over 10 points, but I'll take the 9. And for me, Tarkowski has been a real differential. I've been itching to transfer him out for weeks, but other moves kept taking priority, and then I'd have to play him in a week because I would have an injury, or the other players that I had were playing difficult opposition. And so I would play Tarkowski and he would just go and pick up some points. So the fact that I couldn't transfer him out has actually turned out in my favour. And it just goes to show a bit of luck is always part of FPL. And I'll talk more about what to do with him in the transfers section. Into midfield, and Bruno finished with 18 points, scoring 2 goals and 1 assist. He's now the top scoring midfielder with 85 points, just ahead of Rice on 84. Who's had Rice from the start of the season? I mean, that is an incredible pick if you did have him. Foden had another great game, netting a goal and assist versus Sunderland. He also managed a double-digit haul against Leeds, and now Game Week 15 as well. His form was clear. I said it a couple of weeks ago. He should have had more against Newcastle. We probably should have had another double-digit haul because he should have got an assist, and he had an easy chance that he put wide. That was against Newcastle before City went on to lose. So he's been in form, he just couldn't get a goal. Now he's got that goal, he's just gone on, and he can't stop scoring or assisting. Up top, nothing to talk about. Captain Haaland, and he blanked. He's blanked 4 out of the last 7 games, so it just goes to show that Haaland isn't the default captain. You can go elsewhere. So I've now got an overall point score of 945, which saw me finish just above 20k, which is a 12k rank jump after the United game finished. My aim is to break into the top 10k before the midway point of the season, but I know that won't be easy. The live FPL rank has me just 11 points of 10k, which doesn't seem like a lot, but when players around you have similar teams, yeah, it's going to be difficult to break into that top 10k. I'm going to need one of my differentials to really have a good game week, and maybe I can break into that top 10k. So now, let's look at how I plan to get there. So I've already confirmed 1 transfer. Mateta blanked again and was subbed around the 60th minute. He's getting chances still, but either he's knackered or for me he just lacks confidence. That feeling of him going through on goal, having the confidence that he's going to put it away, for me it's gone. He's had so many chances now. He's obviously tired. That's playing a big factor in it. He's had a lot of games. He plays pretty much all the games for Palace, He's also had international games now. He's being picked for France. With fixture congestion coming up over Christmas, it's not ideal. He's been taken off on and around the 60th minute, 60th to 70th minute. So for an 8 million striker who seems to be lacking confidence, is knackered, and is being taken off around the 60th and 70th minute, it's not great. So I've moved him on for the obvious pick, and that is Thiago. 3 great fixtures coming up, and 2 of them are Leeds at home and Wolves away. Fantasy Football Hub predicts 15.3 points for Thiago versus 14.5 for Mateta. So not a huge difference, but I believe Thiago has a higher ceiling. The stats suggest he's more likely to play 90 minutes, and with that, there's more potential for him to deliver a bigger haul. And I made this transfer just before his price rise to 7 million, so I got him for 6.9 million. So even at 6.9 million, 7 million, he's still great value. The next move isn't confirmed yet, but I'm 100% certain, barring injury news, that Anderson is coming in. I listed him as a top transfer target in my latest Transfer Targets Gameweek 16 video. His fixtures are excellent: Burnley away, Forest at home, and then West Ham away. He's only predicted 12.5 points, but with a clean sheet and bonus, he could easily hit a 10-pointer in just one match, especially with the fact that he gets DEFCONs quite regularly. The only issue I have right now is who I transfer out to get Anderson in. Obviously Tarkowski, you can see here, I've got as the transfer out, but he's actually been key in moving me into almost the top 20k. And at just 7% ownership, he's a great differential. Meanwhile, Van Dijk, who I transferred in a couple of weeks ago, hasn't managed a clean sheet since West Ham away. But Liverpool's stats are solid. They're third for expected goals conceded at 1.1 per 90. So it looks like it's just individual errors costing clean sheets. They have Spurs, Wolves and Fulham coming up, teams low in expected goals. Tarkowski has Chelsea and Arsenal in his next 2 game weeks. So I could move away from Tarkowski and get Anderson in, with future plans to possibly bring in Keane. Or I could keep Tarkowski and Van Dijk and just move on Mukiel to go big in defence. So I could go Mukiel, Van Dijk, Tarkowski, Anderson and Richards at the back. So there's a lot of rotation there, which would allow me to pick the best defenders each week. I'm going to have to decide this a lot closer to the deadline. I missed the price rise of Anderson, going from 4.5 to 4.6. But I do have enough money in the bank to do any of those moves anyway, so I wasn't in a rush. I've still got to deliberate it, and I'll choose closer to the deadline. So for now, let's go through my team selection as it stands with the 1 transfer of Thiago in. In goal, of course, we're starting with Raya. Dubravka has Fulham at home, so it's not a bad fixture, but Raya has Wolves at home. And obviously, I'm going to go with Timber as well, both against Wolves at home, and I'm hoping for a pretty routine win here. That's exactly why I've gone for the Arsenal double up. They're the best defensive team in the league, and for fixtures like this, they are of course perfect. Wolves managed just 0.41 expected goals against United, who aren't the best defensively, so going up against the league's best defense should be a similar story, I'm hoping. Van Dijk is also there. As I said, Liverpool sit third for expected goals conceded at 1.1 per 90. So clean sheet should be just around the corner. That 1-0 win over Inter in the Champions League should give the whole team a huge confidence boost, and hopefully that will bode well for future game weeks in the Premier League. In midfield, Bruno has Bournemouth at home, which is a bit of an outside captaincy option. Bournemouth haven't won in 6 games, and United are looking more in form, so he could be a dangerous differential. And then we've got Saka facing Wolves, and is my obvious differential captain choice over Haaland. Wolves conceded 27 shots against United, so there's a lot of potential for returns. The only thing to watch is his minutes. Will he play the full 90, given the fact that they've got a lot of fixtures over the Christmas break, and Saka has been on the bench or subbed early in the last 2 games. Up front, Haaland and Thiago lead the line, with Haaland currently as vice captain. Once Anderson comes in, he'll slot straight into the start 11, a perfect first fixture against Burnley. Who he replaces depends on whether I move Mukiel or Tarkowski, but either way, he'll be an important addition to the defence because he's got great fixtures coming up. And that's it for this video. What are your thoughts on my transfers so far? Drop a comment below. If this video helped, like, comment and subscribe. If you missed my last 2 videos, Fantasy Focus and Transfer Targets for Game Week 16, they should be popping up around now. As always, thank you for watching. Green arrows, and enjoy the football.